Hello and welcome to National Public Radio's Adventures in Literature. Hello and welcome to National Public Radio's Our Nature, Ourselves, Our Narratives. Today, on Our Nature, Ourselves, Our Narratives, we discuss the literature of one Samuel Clemens, also known as Mark Twain. There are few scholars in the field who would disagree that Samuel Clemens was one of America's greatest storytellers. Indeed, this humorist reflected American life in ways that let the average person understand the absurdity of the superstructure. I'm Nancy Schickens, and today we take a trip back to the 19th century. With me I have Dr. David Nursen-Tursen. With me I've got Dr. David Nursen-Tursen. With me I've got Dr. David Durson, Dr. David Dassentu, Dr. Daniel Karachin, Dr. Daniel Nancy Weiler. I'm Nanny Schickens, and with me today I've got Dr. Daniel Nancy Weiler from the University of California, Berkeley. Doctor, when we first approach Twain, what do we approach it with? Our eyes, our minds, our hearts?
Well, Nancy, Twain has always posed a conundrum for the average reader and a different conundrum for the scholarly reader. Each of those two sets of individuals is going to approach Twain's work very differently because, of course, those of us who have studied the post-structuralists and postmodern critical theorists understand that Twain was really speaking about how the political struggle in America reflected in class and racial struggles, in gender struggles, in understandings of heteronormativity, and other matters of the sort. Now, Twain critiqued all of these things in his day, but he did it through the subtext, and that's why a lot of people don't understand how to approach it.
When I first encountered Twain, it was something of an eye-opening experience to see the class struggle in there. To note it, to say, I empathize with those individuals who are representatives of a disadvantaged group. And I said, enough. Why? Well, it first happened with Twain. As you said, never explicit, is it?
Now, it requires a careful reading to locate the fact that even though Karl Marx hadn't yet written his famous book about the workers and such, but it didn't matter. Twain was critiquing communism as it played out in a capitalist world framework, because he could tell that the workers would never really be represented as long as a neoliberal agenda persisted, as long as we converted the labor of the world into a commodification of Earth itself. He knew that, and when that boy in that one book, he painted that fence. Twain doesn't say it, but you can tell. It's a critique on the use of lead-based paints in the environment. Well, and of course, de Montague has an excellent essay on this, or at least very related subject of environmental issues and the foresight of Twain to anticipate some of the more troubling developments of the 20th and 21st century. It said that the jumping frog of Calabasas County, now that's widely considered to be a prescient allegory on nuclear power, is that right? Well, that's exactly right. I mean, I think there's no disputing that one. That some of these allegories are a little bit more in question, and others are a little more cut and dry. From the modern perspective, we can look back and see that Twain clearly anticipated nuclear power. That's what the frog represents. He clearly anticipated that it would be overweighted in certain ways. Nostradamus had nothing on Twain, right? I mean, he wrote about Fukushima in that story, clear as day. Yes. One of the issues is no doubt going to come up in the World Court. When the plaintiffs for the Fukushima accident go to this court, they are going to say what? They said, how can it be that reading Twain we see so prescient a prediction and yet no action taken? And what shall these officials say? I don't know, but I do know this. Huckleberry Finn is Vladimir Putin. Well, I mean, again, these are more settled ones. If you want to get into what I consider a more interesting topic, it's how exactly Tom Sawyer's conundrum with that one little girl, how that represents the Russian and Ukrainian crisis. And I mean, he practically said the word Crimea, and he practically said the word Luhansk and Donetsk. He essentially, metaphorically, abstractly, referentially, in kind of a symbolic way, said there will be rioters in Luhansk, there will be rioters in Donetsk, and Russia will take over Crimea, and this will put in serious repose here, whatever you want to call it, the issue of NATO. And you know, that was hundreds of years before cheese was invented. So, I mean, that's a good writer. Also, he cured my cancer. I don't know if you're aware of that. I had cancer all over my body. The doctor said I was 99% cancer and 1% not cancer. I had minutes to live, but I read Twain and woke up the next morning. I was fine. It was remarkable. He anticipated my cancer. It was in the introduction of one of those books. I don't remember which one. I think it was Mark Twain Goes to the Zoo. And if you remember that one, he gets locked in the chimpanzee cage accidentally, and he has a conversation. It's the most remarkable thing. He says, am I the animal, or is it you? And then we just left to wonder, who really is the animal here? It's ambiguous. Just as I think Twain would have liked it. Well, of course, there still is the issue of his actual death. Did he actually even die? Is a matter of some dispute here among scholars. We have recent writings that suggest he may still be alive and gloating about his successful predictions. I read an article just the other day on a police shooting in the New Yorker. It sounded just like his voice in this one part of the paragraph, in one of the fourth paragraph. It could have been him, and if it were, he was clearly commenting on the fact that he had predicted that a long time ago. And that's the point of understanding what it means to be a great author. It means to be a magical wizard. You can cast spells from the past. That's true. Thank you so much, Doctor, for being here. I'm Nancy Chickens, and this has been our Nature, our Identity, our Narratives. NPR's weekly look at literature and the importance it plays in our lives.
please don't forget, Pledge Week's coming up soon. You'll want to contribute at least $30 a month. Oh, yes. You can put in the memo, "This is for Nancy Chickens, the most sensual of all authorities on literature."